Good morning. Today is Friday, February 25th. I'm recording this for those of you who are absent today. The objective today is the student will reflect on and apply what they have learned in this chapter to make an argument about the identity of the reddish-brown substance. So this is the last lesson in chapter 1, and the ultimate ending is you're going to write a scientific argument identifying the substance. Chapter 1 question is, what is the reddish brown substance in the well? And so then you're going to be able to have all the information that you need in order to answer that question. Go ahead and open up this folder, and there are two PDFs here. There's a pre-write, and then there's the scientific argument. Copy those and put those in GoodNotes. And then the only other thing that we did today is, let me just kind of tell you real quick what we did. And if you have questions, of course, if you've been absent, you are probably going to have some questions. And so do what you can do. And if you need some extra help, then obviously when you get back, you have 2 days for every day that you missed when I assigned something. So you've got time to ask some questions and get this taken care of next week. What we did in class is I just had the kids do the warm-up for lesson 1.6, and then that's all that we did in Amplify. There are some new key concepts, and so I'll let you pause the video and copy down that key concept. And then here's key concept number 4. And then we just kind of ended that with the idea that if we can find out more about the properties of the reddish-brown substance and actually the atoms that it's made of, then we may be able to identify it and answer the chapter 1 question. We've already made observations, but we have not found out what atoms are involved in those 3 substances that you guys looked at. So I created this scientific argument pre-writing activity. And that's this thing right here. It's a PDF that you put into your GoodNotes. And this is just asking you to go back into lesson 1, 2, and activity 3 to remind yourself all about the macro scale observations that you made of the pipe substance, the fertilizer substance, and the reddish-brown substance. So I had you go ahead and I made a place for you to write that down there. This is evidence, okay? So you'll write down the evidence that you made on a macro scale. And then based on those observations, which claim do you think is right? And I want the kids are going to circle 1. And then I made a space for you to really think about what key concepts help explain the claim using this evidence. So as you write your scientific argument, you're going to be using race. This is your evidence, and the key concepts will explain the evidence. So go back and take a look at the key concepts that we wrote down. Which ones specifically deal with macro scale observations, or which ones could you use specifically? We're talking about properties of matter. What could you use for that? So you would fill this out. And then we have new information from Dr. Yoon. She has sent us this. Now, this is molecular scale observations. And I want you to carefully examine the atomic models, and you'll see that we made observations up here, and we knew based on the macro scale observations that these are different substances. They look different, they had different textures. Okay, so these are definitely different. But we can confirm that on a molecular scale in that we've got pipe is only made up of this iron atom. It's repeating groups of iron. And then the fertilizer is repeating groups of this. NaNO3 is a type of fertilizer. It's actually called, hang on one second, I've got it right here. It's called sodium nitrate, and this is fertilizer. Now, what you can see is the reddish-brown substance is made of iron and oxygen, and it's actually rust. And a lot of you guys thought that that reddish-brown substance was rust. It is. Remember, the question is not asking us to identify it. The question is asking us to sort of make a claim. Is it the same as the iron? It's not, because it's got oxygen and iron doesn't. Is it the same as the fertilizer? It's not, because it does have oxygen, but it doesn't have sodium and it doesn't have nitrogen. And so then we are left with the three claims here, and based on those observations, we know that the reddish-brown substance is not the same as either the pipe or the fertilizer. Again, no big surprise, but now we've got some key concepts like the ones number 3 and number 4 that we just talked about that help explain why it's claim number 3 from a molecular standpoint. Okay? You've got this little space down below here that you're going to use as a revision checklist after you write your scientific argument. So the next step is to go ahead and open up this PDF. This is another one, the second one that you put into GoodNotes, and it's just a place for you to write your scientific argument. You're going to use race, restate answer, citing the evidence, and then explaining the evidence. Remember, state your claim about the identity of the reddish-brown substance. That's restate and answer. Use evidence for both your observations and the atomic scale models to support your claims. So that's why I had you guys create, or take the time to go through. You need to use 2 pieces of evidence. One piece of evidence has to come basically from the macro scale observations, and the second piece of evidence is going to come from the atomic scale evidence. Okay? And then you're going to write your answer here. I would use 2 paragraphs, one for the macro scale observation, evidence, and explanation, and one for the atomic scale evidence and explanation. I've got a word bank here that has 4 different words or phrases here. You can use property or properties, whichever one, singular or plural, whatever works for your sentence. And make sure that you are including these words at least one time. Once you're finished with that, then go back to this document, and down at the bottom is a revision checklist. I want you to reread your scientific argument and check off the following once you know that they're in there. So did you clearly state a claim about the identity of the reddish-brown substance? Did you say, I agree with claim number 3? If you did, and you say what claim number 3 is, then go ahead and check that off. Did you provide evidence from your observations that support your claim? Did you provide evidence from the atomic scale models that support your claim? And did you thoroughly explain how these pieces of evidence support your claim? And again, remember, you're going to explain them by using key concepts. Okay? You're using reasoning, and the key concepts are written so that you can use them to sort of explain why this evidence supports your claim. Okay? Kind of a longer video today. I'm giving the kids all class period to work on this. It is due on Monday. And so if you feel like you have enough information, you know what you're doing, you can go ahead and complete that, turn it in on Monday. But again, if you feel like you need a little bit more time, then let me know, and you and I can sit down and talk and get it figured out, okay? All right, take care. Hope you feel better. Talk to you later.